A few days ago, we did that video about that bot of a cheater that was bouncing from account to account and dealing with a lot of nonsense. As you can see from the little clips in the background where he wasn't able to do damage, where he was shooting up and above the ground. And then there's a lot of these other mitigations that Raven and Call of Duty put out a blog about explaining kind of what Team Ricochet is up to, because obviously there's always going to be cheaters in online gaming, but there are things that they're actively doing and seeing the trends of overall reports go down as a result of that. So the blog, it was Ricochet Anti-Cheat Progress Report Q&A, and they're just kind of answering the most popular questions that a lot of people get. So why do I still encounter cheaters? That's the one that a lot of people will say, well, why do you still encounter cheaters? Especially if you're coming from the console only environment, which we were on when it came to COD, at least like 99% of us for almost over a decade, if you've been playing COD that long. But obviously with the transition to PC, it introduces that element. The anti-cheat solutions work like antivirus software. Let's assume today we know all the nefarious ways cheaters try to impact the game. So they're aware of every possible cheat that is available on the market right now, impact the game and ruin your experience. Our team uses that knowledge to protect against bad behavior and punish bad actors. While our team has been able to establish a system that can quickly detect and respond to bad behaviors, we know tomorrow will continue to deliver new and evolving threats because, like I've talked about in the past, you know, they make better bullets, better armor, better bullets, better armor, and it's a constant fight. On one side, it'll have the advantage and it goes back and forth, pissing each other off. But in the background, this is what they're working on. As we take steps to ensure our system can identify and react to known bad behavior, we fully expect cheat makers to continue devising new bad behaviors. So no matter what they do on their end, it'll never stop. People will always continue to make cheats with online gaming in general, whether it comes from Cronus or online actually injected cheats on the PC platform. Some that they can anticipate and some that we need to develop new systems against that they never found out about, whether it was silent aim in the past and they found out a way to mitigate that. What we're getting better at is the speed at which we can recognize when players are doing things they shouldn't be doing. When bad actor is detected, we hit them with something from our mitigation toolbox, so they don't outright ban them. And it's going to explain why, because a lot of people are like, well, why don't you just instantly ban them? Now you know that they're cheating. That would go against the first part that we just talked about, and analyze the data from the machine determined to be cheating. This is one of the many ways we can understand new behaviors and work to protect our games. So once they've identified a cheater, they still let them play while instantly countering them. So they either can't do damage or they look around like the clip we saw. And those are just multiple ways. And there's others that we'll talk about. And those allow the cheats to still think they're working and trying to enact it. And then what they're going to do is figure out and analyze that behavior so that when that happens, they know that they're being cheated on by other types of cheats. And then that'll kind of list them and continue to learn more and evolve. Day to day, that's what we do. We continuously strengthen our systems as we're capturing new data, dissecting it and implementing additional changes. Simply put, we're always working to combat cheating. What's up with these mitigations? Why are you doing it? Mitigations were birthed from the wizards of our server-side security teams, which is responsible for Team Ricochet. It started with the comment like, wouldn't it be funny if, and then the team worked tirelessly to develop our new mitigation systems. We feel mitigations is a necessary step for anti-cheat security, because then you continue to learn about the cheats you're trying to keep out of your game, right? The question for Team Ricochet is quickly became, how can we keep detected cheaters in the game, fully analyze their tactics and strengthen our security, while at the same time make their experience less impactful to legitimate players? The solution: let's do more to get in the way of cheaters. Cheaters, for some reason, feel superior using software to win games that they have no business winning. Transform those euphoric feelings of being fake best into glorious pangs of annoyance. We've seen the clips. Obviously, we talked about the clips, and that guy raged off stream, and he ended up getting his channel like banned for a week or whatever. But one other thing is like the same thing when Caldera dropped. A lot of people were frustrated with it. They hated the game, and then they just stopped playing it. And there's probably people watching this video and they're like, I stopped playing months ago, whatever, right? The thing is, you were frustrated and annoyed, and obviously they've done things to help work on that side, but that's a different story. The thing with the cheaters is keeping them annoyed, so that instead of just getting banned and just jumping on a new account, banned and jumping on a new account, the frustration will kick in and they'll just be annoyed and just say like, screw the game. I'm tired of it. It's not worth the hassle, and I don't want to get good, so I'm just going to leave it alone, play something else that I don't have to worry about. So the first one has been a fan favorite. in the community since we announced it because it registers for both players. The cheater knows that they're registering hit markers, but they don't understand why their gun isn't killing. The person getting hit with them, they get a directional indicator where the hit markers are coming from. And we saw examples of this when we were looking at the gameplay we saw earlier, where we get to see both sides. It gives a little bit of the marker so you know you have been hit and the direction you're being shot from. And it gives you ample time where you're going to not die to this and you'll be caught. You can catch like them while they're reloading or whatever. So no matter the skill level of this player, it'd be highly unlikely for that person while they're registering this person not missing, locked on to one part of the body for 70 bullets or whatever the heck the magazine is, right? Cloaking. And this one I've never seen, and you really can't get gameplay of it because you don't know when this happens to a cheater. You'll just end up getting shot once, one bullet, and then all of a sudden you disappear. Boom. And then they're like, where the hell they go? And the cheats aren't going to detect the player. The player can come up, execute you. But more than likely, if you get into a gunfight, you get hit once, not again. And you just delete the cheater and you would never know. So hopefully at some point, maybe they put like a clown skin that's blatantly obvious that they are cheating. And you would know, look, I found this idiot that can't see where I'm at. I execute them or whatever because they transform into a clown skin. And that would help the player know that they are being mitigated, the cheater that they're playing against in the lobby is being mitigated against. They also have disarm, which is a newer one I guess they're trying out. They would just fire and it would just have the gun where they don't have a gun. You don't drop the gun, so you're not necessarily disarmed in the way of dropping your gun. It's just a gun, and you can see that it's like he's struggling to actually hit the person as they're coming through. You can see that it's like the bullets are, it's like avoiding them, and then he hits them once, and then his gun just disappears. So he can't shoot. He's going to be a sitting duck. So there's that among other things. And this is one of the rare times that they actually put a chart out explaining the matches with mitigation. So this is the times that they're impacting a known like detected cheater and matches with reporting of cheaters. Obviously, the matches where they aren't mitigating, there are reports of cheaters. They go up. And as they impact the mitigation, the reports go down. And as a whole, you can kind of see that this number is slowly trickling down because they're using more mitigation and they're detecting these cheaters quicker. Obviously, there's all kinds of spoofers and all that other nonsense. I don't care enough to deal with that because professionals are doing that. But at the end of the day, you can see that this red line overall, the reporting has been fairly low. When you talk about starting up here versus down here, it is lower than when it first started. Since launching our mitigations early this year, we've kept a close eye on player reporting, and the aim is for mitigation is to keep cheaters in game to analyze their data while reducing their ability to impact legitimate player experience, because obviously then we get annoyed, I ran into another cheater. We have other mitigations that we'll spill the beans on in the future, and they'll have another blog saying, here's an update, cheaters are way down, or whatever the case is. Some are active now, and then we might not be able to identify them, just the same way the cloaking works, where it just makes you completely disappear. And then you're ghosted essentially to that cheater. But they'll have more on the way, and they're going to continue to work on that. Where do you go from mitigations? What about bans? Like, why aren't you just banning these? So while mitigations are certainly the eye-catching element that they kind of look cool and you're trolling a cheater, the element of Ricochet anti-cheat, those processes are in support of the biggest deterrent to cheating, which is bans. It's knocking them off their account. And if they don't have the proper things to try and get on another account, and it'll know, they recognize their hardware ID, their IP bans or whatever, they figure it out, right? But again, there's always that fight where there's cheats that do figure out ways to get around that, and then eventually they get around that. And that's why there might feel like there's an uptick in cheaters like one weekend versus another, or vice versa, until they figure it out because they're actively working on it. I don't know. This is what we have to go off of, right? And it says, since our previous update, we have issued another 180,000 bans, which is like in 2 months. And that's a lot of bans or something like that. I think maybe 2 to 3 months, which is kind of crazy because you're talking about 60,000 bans that's a month, and that's 2,000 bans a day. That is a lot of accounts that they are actively banning, but that's also a lot of losers that are actively trying to ruin the game and that they probably don't even enjoy to begin with. So I don't know. I don't get it. What can we do to help with the experience better individually? The first thing you can do is to protect your account. This is highly important because I get a lot of comments saying, oh, somebody hacked my account. Cheaters go after these accounts because they already have stuff unlocked. If they look more legitimate because they're high level, all these different things. You got to put on 2-factor authentication, and that should help with the vast majority of any of those people that are having those issues. Because once your account's gone, it's pretty hard to get it back if you didn't have any protections in place. And then secondly, but not less important, are the in-game reporting tools. I've seen a lot of people, they just use this for anyone, and that should not necessarily be the case. You should really identify, do you feel that this is a 100% a cheater, or like 50%, maybe they had a good clip, whatever, and then report them. And then you actively report them. It'll send a little bit more of a, hey, this is accurate. But at the end of the day, people just report just because they got dumpstered, and that's kind of how it goes sometimes. What can we expect from Team Ricochet when Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 comes out and all new Warzone 2.0 launches? Ricochet anti-cheat, including its PC kernel and level driver, will be active on day 1 for both Call of Duties, not like Vanguard where it was super delayed, or Warzone, it was not fully activated and it was just in one region. Nonsense. It's going to be fully active across the board. This is possible because the foundation of Team Ricochet has already built it to be implemented into the new version of the game as that game has been built, right? Ricochet anti-cheat continues to be smarter and better as time progresses, but again, so do the cheat provider, so it's a constant battle. Will you encounter cheaters? Sadly, perhaps yes, but we are working endlessly to be faster and better to get them out of the game by force or by annoyance, and let you focus on fun. For me, I think this is super interesting to get an inside look. They don't often talk about any of these things. They keep them super secretive. I wish they would talk a little bit more about shadow bannings, which really aren't addressed in here because that's not part of Team Ricochet. That's based off just mass reporting. And that would allow us to find out a little bit more about how that works and what are things that maybe you can do on your end to prevent that. Because I get a lot of messages, people saying, hey, I got shadow banned, I never cheated. And I'm just like, well, okay, well, you probably did something weird. Maybe play with the riot shield and people are reporting you because they thought you were annoying. There's a lot that goes into it, but this is a good start. Looking forward to more blogs of these in the future, just so we learn a little bit more of the nuances of what's going on, because obviously it doesn't look like they're working unless they say they are, I guess. Made it to this point, hit the like button. Appreciate the support. Thank you for watching as always. Have a great day.